I had no intentions on doing a follow-up video on my previous video talking about sort of the issue when it comes to what I would refer to the trash anime problem. The problem that we make for ourselves. And I discussed about how we kind of guilt ourselves into feeling bad for liking shows because of content creators and parts of the anime community that constantly sort of barrage and belittle us for liking things that may not be seen as socially acceptable by them. Because here's the thing, and what's ironic is in that video I talked about how you would be surprised how many people actually like these shows that are seen as bad by content creators. And within less than 24 hours, within 10 hours of me uploading that video, Mother's Basement uploaded a video called The Problem with Isekai, which is a 26-minute long video. Honestly, you could take 8 minutes out of it because most of it's just self-plugging other stuff and sponsorships. But if you listen to the good 18 minutes of it, it is everything, and I mean everything that I've been talking about is a problem within the anime community. The belittling, the toxicity, the constant barraging of anime fans are saying that, well, if you like this show, you should feel bad. And let me tell you what show's really good. Rather than making shows where you sit there and say, hey, I like this show, this is why you should watch it, it turns into a, hey, these shows are all shit, why don't you get better taste and watch what I like, and if you don't agree, well, you're just bad. This is the same person, by the way, that made a tweet attacking the creator of Nekopara, claiming that they were just a neckbeard dude, when it's actually made by a woman, a married woman to be precise. And only then, when his girlfriend decided it was appropriate to play the game, did he then decide. The reason why I bring that up is a demonstration of the type of character that a person is. And I bring that up because if you look at Mother's Basement's past and look at his present, he hasn't changed as a person. He's just become better at hiding who he really is. And yes, I do have a problem with Mother's Basement. Yes, I do think he brings more harm to the anime community than actually positive, because he has fostered nothing more than a toxic, hateful, spiteful community. And even within that video, he had to slap in a little bit of politics about evil capitalism, because of course he needed to. Because that's the thing. His videos aren't actually about genuine analysis or breakdowns or weighing up proper positives and negatives in a constructive manner. It is about berating and belittling anyone that does not agree with him because he knows better than you. Which is more ironic because recently he's been trying to fix his image, trying to paint this image of, hey guys, I'm just joking around, you know, it's all just fun, I'm not actually really toxic, and then boom, this video comes out where he just rips people down, constantly whines about tropes that, by the way, don't actually exist in isekais, and even his own fans and his own comments pointed out, where he talks about the main protagonists in harem isekais, or just particularly harem isekais, because he brings up the word elf, cat, pussy. And then he goes, oh yeah, you know, they're just trying to get some elf pussy. But in reality, that's actually one of the things that we complain about the most, of them not doing anything with their harems. When these guys build up these harems of 3 to 5, potentially more girls, and they never do anything with them, and if it is, it's off screen at the end of the story where, oh yeah, they have children. That is one of the things that is a biggest complaint. And many of us praise when a story actually has a main protagonist that actually does something with a woman. But instead, he complains about them doing it when they don't actually do it. And this is the problem. When you have such hatred and animosity towards the anime community, it slips out a little bit. Also, the constant complaint about SA and slavery and all that, that isn't as big of a thing as people think. It's just easy to kind of note them out because they stand out more. But yeah, definitely, slavery. It's a thing that's in some isekais out there. And even power fantasies, because there are power fantasies that have it as well. Why are they in those? Because most isekais are power fantasies. They're in medieval times. And what happened during medieval times? Well, those kinds of things. That's like complaining that medieval times had wells. Yeah, no duh, that was what they did back then. And that's the thing about Mother's Basement. He ignores logic, he ignores rationality and common sense because he needs something to take a jab at. It's the desperation to constantly look for something to go after. And the thing that I noticed throughout the video itself was one reoccurring pattern. He doesn't like the fact that a large portion of people like things that he doesn't deem good. So if he doesn't like it, you shouldn't also like it, and you should go watch what he deems appropriate. And you can sit there and say, no, he didn't do that. No, that's exactly what he did throughout the video. Constantly whining about how these shows that he doesn't like get more views than shows he does like. And then constantly brings up like Mao as an example. And many content creators do that. And I've stated in many videos, if you use Mao as an indication of if you should enjoy a show or not, you instantly null and void your opinion as a content creator. And congratulations, Mother's Basement did the rule that I always say should never be done. Never use a third-party website as an indication of your personal enjoyment. You should never sit there and go, well, I like this show because Mao said so, or I should hate this show because Mao said so, or either way. Saying, well, Mao likes it, so I shouldn't like it. You should never use a third party. What you should do is go out, read the synopsis, watch a trailer, maybe watch a video from a content creator that is unbiased and weighs up positives and negatives and gives a bit of context to what the story is about. And then maybe dip your toe into it. You don't have to do all of these. You can do some of these or none of these or whichever works best for you. But then maybe dip your toe into it, watch a couple of episodes, go, you know what, is that for me or not? And then if it's not, you move on. If it is, you continue. But what I think is really toxic is this whole mindset of content creators that constantly go around telling you what you can and cannot enjoy. And then try and use their fan base to shield them from criticism, because that's exactly what will happen in my comment section. I will have Mother's Basement fans, his little simps, coming in going, well, actually, he didn't say, no, that's exactly what he said. It's just he's really good at looping around and kind of being very passive-aggressive and talking down. But this is exactly the issue that I've been talking about in multiple videos that I've been talking about for over a year. Content creators that need to bully people into liking what they like. It was only recently there was a clip going around of a cosplayer that basically just got mad that male fantasies were popular and that they wanted their really niche subcategory of a subcategory of a subcategory of a subcategory to be mainstream. It wasn't that there wasn't enough of their favorite shows, it was that their favorite shows weren't popular enough and weren't the mainstream. And that's the thing that Mother's Basement is demonstrating in this video. Is that his problem really comes down to that he just doesn't like the shows that he dislikes are beloved by people. Now, to be very clear, a lot of the shows that he highlighted that he dislikes, I also don't really care for. I don't really like. But guess what I do? I just go find things I do like, and I talk about the things that I do like. But see, that's why I'm a failed content creator. That's why I'm a nobody. Because I talk about the things I like rather than constantly drumming negativity in people's ears. Now, the last couple of recent videos, I've definitely drummed that, and that's why I wasn't intending to do this video, because I was going to talk about some more positive stuff that I've been enjoying. But that's the thing about YouTube. That's the thing about social media, is it's all about negativity, negativity, negativity. It's all that fuels the internet now. And that's why I think there's a lot of fatigue going on in the internet. That's why there's such fatigue and hatred towards the AniTube community. As an AniTuber, I don't blame people for hating AniTubers. Because I myself hate a lot of AniTubers. Because they're not trying to build positive communities. They're not trying to build genuine good communities that foster good, positive attitude towards certain shows that they like. It's all about beating down other shows so that they can raise up their own shows and telling people that your show should fit in a very small box, that it should have this, this, and this in it, but none of this. This long checklist of what they can and cannot do. And as I've always said, you're doomed if you do, you're doomed if you don't. Because if you follow the rules that people like Mother's Basement put out of what should be appropriate and what shouldn't be appropriate, right? Then you basically have the most watered down show that's cookie cutter to every other. He uses ReZero as an example, which, by the way, I love ReZero. But if you made every other anime just a copy paste of ReZero, ReZero would no longer be unique. It would no longer feel special. It would no longer be really good to the wider audience because people would get fatigue. They would get bored of it. The reason why ReZero is so amazing is because it is unique. It has its own unique spark. Is there a lot of copy-paste generic isekais out there? Absolutely. I think a lot of us can agree on that. And that's why we call them the junk food of the sort of anime community. But that doesn't mean that they don't serve a purpose. People say they're trash, but again, trash has no value. And this does have value. It offers some entertainment. But you've also got to understand, why is isekais popular? Why is there so many of them? Because their demographic is to a younger audience, generally teens, in high school, all young, just entering into the workforce, and they want a form of escapism. They want a simple story that they can pretend they're in and get away from the shitty life, which, by the way, he agrees with. But he's also ignoring the fact that those shows aren't aimed at him, and yet he's upset that they aren't. Now, there's plenty of other isekais out there that are aimed for a bit more of a different audience, that have maybe a bit more spark. But that's another thing I've talked about in other videos, is that gimmick system. Every isekai has to have a gimmick, otherwise it doesn't feel unique. Removing the gimmicks then makes them kind of feel more generic, and then adding the gimmicks can kind of make them feel gimmicky. Romances do the same thing, and that's the other thing, is that he seems to have an issue with isekais because there's so many isekais now, but you know what? That's just factually incorrect. There is not actually as many isekais as there used to be. Not as many are kind of going out now. You want to know the new trends that are happening? The "I've been abandoned by my party" trope. That has become the new one, which isn't so much isekais. Those are just general power fantasies. Main protagonist is in a party, he's generally a support role, he's generally seen as the weakest link, but secretly he's the one that actually supports everyone and does all the work, whether he is just some more support role doing a lot of medic kind of stuff, or he's got some secret skills that people don't know about. It generally follows a couple of those traits. That has become the new popular thing now. Also, the villainous type stories. I've seen a lot of villainous stories, which I personally really do love. I love my All Routes Lead to Doom. Read the light novels, most of it. Love those types of series. Are they super popular? No. Is that fine? Yeah. One of my favorite sort of villainous style stories is exactly that. All Routes Leads to Doom. But does it get the same amount of views as, say, like what would be perceived as a normal generic isekai? No. Does that bother me? No. Would I like to get more views talking about those animes? Yeah. But I'm not going to sit there and attack people for enjoying something that I may not like as much, or not like at all. That's the point that I've been trying to get across, is constructiveness is far more better, but it doesn't work in this day and age of social media because it's all about the clicks. It's all about the rage bait. And Mother's Basement fit right into that. He did exactly what I tweeted in the last day. Like, within the last day, I've made a video and a tweet talking about this very issue. He did exactly what I predicted. And so many people sat there and said, yes, this is a problem. But are those same people now going to say, yes, he is part of the problem? Or are they going to suddenly backpedal that? Because that's the issue, is the cult. People are too scared to criticize content creators that are too big. He has almost 1.4 million subscribers. If he wanted to, he could probably end my career. He could try, but I just don't really care. I sort of flourish in the chaos of it all and in the fire of the chaos. Because I'm not scared of these big content creators. These content creators don't offer any real value to the conversation anymore. They have built such toxicity that I have an issue with it. He could have spent an entire video going over a certain particular show that he really loves. And instead, it's a 18-minute long video, most of it just ragging on what other people enjoy and stereotyping and belittling what people like. Yes, there is a section in there where he praises a certain show, glazes it up. But you know what's even more funny is throughout it, he's talking about certain shows and how bad they are. And there are people in the comment section going, well, actually, no, I like that show. No, actually, I like that. He constantly was bringing up clips and examples of shows that are bad. And yet, those are shows that people like. And that's the point. Is that everyone has different tastes. And there's nothing wrong with that. I may not like your favorite show. You may not like my favorite show. And that's perfectly fine. But I think constantly drumming this whole isekai problem, which, by the way, this isekai problem has become far less of an issue now over the years of oversaturation, because there isn't as many isekais coming out as there used to be. A lot of it has changed, and that's because it's supply and demand. Once people kind of get a little bit bored of the oversaturation, they'll move on to other things. That's just the reality. And if you're that upset that your favorite show didn't get a sequel, read the manga, read the light novels, read the web novel. But you won't because you want to be part of a big popular group. And then when it becomes big and popular, you don't really like it anymore because, oh no, it's been overly saturated by a bunch of toxic people and oh, you want to gatekeep again. My advice, go find that niche group. Be happy that your favorite show is a niche group because you don't want it to become big and popular. Because when it becomes big and popular, you have exactly this problem now. Grifters, posers, hypocrites, people trying to change what you enjoy. I know this is going to be a heavy-hitting video. I know I'm going to rile up a lot of people that are Mother's Basements fans. I don't really care. The dude has been completely hypocritical in a lot of his points. He's fostered nothing but toxicity, and yes, I'm going to criticize it. You can say I'm toxic as well. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. It doesn't really matter at this point because I'm just kind of fed up of it. If you like this video, hit the like, subscribe, and I'll see you beautiful nerds in the next video.